To the top right, we have the last Zerg standing for Team AZUBU, once again up against the Protoss player.
AZUBU symbol.
He's always the symbol of hope. It was the symbol back for TSL.
And his opponent to the bottom right looks to be going for another gateway expand like we saw last time. It is
Axiom Crank.
maybe following the footsteps of Alicia with that pylon placement. We could just see a Forge of the main though.
Alicia probably heading out of the booth, going over to Crank and telling, okay, did you see that? That's how you not do it.
Yeah, he's like, just make sure you protect your sentries. I swear it will work. I don't know. I actually feel more towards we're going to see a Forge in the main with this one. Because this is a great map for Forge fast expands. We'll find out in just a second. Nope, Gateway.
I really like this map for Protoss versus Zerg. It's a map where we see sometimes long, drawn-out games, but it's always an exciting one for me because there are just so many options. We've talked about this during our Code cast, and I really love games on the Killon. And you know, we mentioned that usually Zerg players try to be a bit more greedy against Protoss these days, and this is exactly what we have here. We have the hatch first now, instead of dropping the spawning pool, because he feels confident that he can stop a potential cannon rush, but he also knows that there's a good chance that a gateway opening is being used by his opponent.
By the way, guys, what we're describing right now is actually what the word metagame actually means. It's really how StarCraft is such a beautiful sport, because this is always shifting. For a while, no one's going hatch first because cannon rushes are popular, Forge fast expands are dominant. Now, with the new gateway expands coming out and a lot more Processes are using these, Zerg players go back and going to hatch first.
It's just the mothership core that gives Protoss players a lot more safety. In Wings of Liberty, it was so difficult to pull off a gateway expand against an aggressive Zerg, but now things changed, and that also, as Wolf just pointed out, affects the Zerg player. He can now, with a gateway expand, go into the hatch first play if it's not blocked. And one of the things that Symbol, of course, had not to deal with here is a probe scout. There was no probe. There was nothing to stop that hatch from going down. Yeah. And the first thing that Symbol would have done if he saw a probe would go into the spawning pool before hatch.
Definitely so. This Zealot is in a weird place. Like, he's just, you know, contemplating life. He's like looking over that cliff. He's like, those rocks are beautiful.
The Zealot has anxiety issues. He's like, no, I don't want to go down that ramp. No, it's really steep. And what if I slip?
Now he's going and looking at something else. He's just like, he's just walking around. He's bored.
And the probe is just going up and down the ramp. It's like, you see, it's fine. And the Zealot's like, no, I don't know.
I think that Zealot may have just taken a picture and of that clip, and he's uploading it to Instagram right now. He's trying to get more followers.
He's halfway down the ramp, and the probe is the entire time, no, it's fine, it's cool. Yeah. I was just dodging the Overlord here also a little bit. I mean, the Overlord now there, so he sees, of course, that the Zealot was being started at first, but yeah.
As you can see, speed is getting closer to being done, so he's going to feel a lot more comfortable with this faster speed than what we saw last game to be able to hold off some sort of aggression. And, you know, to be honest, I don't think Crank is actually going to attack. He's just going to take a faster third, and there's the Forge, which indicates even further.
Well, we have the third base now coming up for Symbol, so Symbol is going into speed, and that's always something that you want to get. When you realize that your opponent is heading into a gateway opening, drop your extractor. There is nothing worse than facing a gateway army when you don't have speed. Zerg players around the world have been in the situation where they are trying to make something work with the Zerglings, and then they suddenly realize they don't have speed, forgot it for some reason or whatever, and this is the facepalm moment. This is when keyboards break.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like forgetting Warp Gate research or something. It's almost that bad. Not as bad as getting your toe stubbed, though. That really sucks.
Not as bad as forgetting a mule, because guess what? You can always drop them later.
You can just put it later. That's fine.
Well, jokes aside, we now have the Stargate gear coming up as the tech transition for Crank, and also the +1 attack upgrade. So if he heads out with the Gateway and the Stargate composition, then he will have +1 and can do a fair amount of damage. But we saw in Game 1 already that Symbol is going to play a very solid style, and he does leave very little to chance.
By the way, at the top, we just saw a shot of it. Very, very, very careful probe movement outside of the watchtower on the right and avoiding the Overlord. So he has that sneaky pylon there you can use later if he wants to. And I love how careful Crank was with that probe to make sure he can get that pylon down. He's also leaving the probe there because he knows if he moves it, he's probably going to run into an Overlord, and the Zerg player will know that there's a pylon over there. So I really commend him for that.
first spores are being built, and keep in mind that +1 is halfway done. There's the Overlord, and the Overlord will at least see that there are Zealots, so already spotted the probe.
Yeah, that was a bit, you know, he wants to make a second pylon, I guess is the reason, but...
Okay, he saw the Overlord. I was for a second a little worried that he missed it.
Oh, he's chasing the Overlord, though, towards his Zealots. I think he'll barely see it. Oh, no, he turns it around. Why would he turn around?
Why would you turn that around? You know that the Overlord is dying anyway. So
yeah, that was weird.
Why control that at all?
Definitely strange.
Well, it works for Crank.
Yeah, he's very happy about that.
Roach speed, Hydra then, additional spores, preparing for the Phoenixes, but he also has to prepare for the Zealots. But it doesn't really look like Crank is committing too much to this.
Yeah, he's actually just going to walk them home. He feels like too much information was already revealed about his push, and so he's like, nah. Pick off some drones instead.
Heading into the Robo now, so the usual transition would be going straight into Colossus.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll see.
I mean, we have to, with the transition now for Symbol being a Hydra then, and already a Hydra range being researched, it has to be. But there's the Overseer now in the main base.
+1 for air coming out too, so we're going to see that air transition. This is the much more normal way to get +1 air, unlike what we saw from Alicia in Game 1.
He sees the transition, he knows now exactly what's going on here. Also has another changing in the main base with those Phoenixes taking down one. Maybe the second one, at least getting another drone or two, but not the second Overlord.
Yeah. No.
Not the Queen, it's too close to the Spore Crawler.
You know, killing the Queen is not even worth it if there's extra Queens and you're going to lose a Phoenix. It's just not, that's not a good trade.
That's something that a lot of protos have been arguing about for a long time. What's better to take down? Are you going for the Overlords? Do you take down the Queens? Are you going for the drones? And it's always very situational. There are situations where Zerg will only have one Queen per hatch, then you should go for the Queens. Getting the drones is also a very good move, but the problem really is that with a good lava management, the Zerg player can easily replace them. So it's always very situational. What's better to take down?
That pylon definitely gets taken down. It never really ended up being used. Sees the Hydras, of course, here now. You could also maybe click on those and see if they have +1 or not. Spire coming up here, and he doesn't know just yet that he's facing an air-type play. He hasn't been able to scout that. He's in a position now where he doesn't have any Overlords that he can send either. Oh, actually, he saved one to the bottom left, so he will be able to go scout this. That's so important.
Yep. Here's one still there, +1 attack upgrade for the air units is nearly done. And this is, of course, going heading towards Void Rays in combination with Colossi. One thing, though, that Symbol doesn't know is about the third, and that's something that he's gonna find out right now. He dropped the Spire anyway, so that he can at least get Corruptors. But also, we have the Infestation Pit now on the way, so Hive is definitely an option for him.
Yeah. There's the Investors.
He didn't see the third, or am I wrong?
Let me check.
I don't think he really spotted that. No, he didn't.
He did not see it at all. He can reasonably assume, but, you know, seeing a Colossus and not seeing a third can be kind of scary, and a nice hide on the Void Ray.
Well, the thing is, no, he can't assume, because there is still the push on 2 bases with Colossi
that's
Immortal,
the thing. So he also hit the Void Ray, so now he's like, I don't know.
Exactly, so that could be a 2-base play. I mean, it's a little bit unlikely on this map, but still.
Yeah, because the timing is a little bit off by the Phoenixes, but still, I mean, it's definitely absolutely possible, and he's going to go aggressively maneuver with these Hydras a little bit. He's got to be careful, though.
In a few seconds, so that is going to be important to escape here. And we have the Swarmos coming up now. The Locust upgrade is on its way. And also, of course, with the sorry to cut you off there, the +2 attack upgrade for the Locust and the Hydralisk.
It's going to really help them. This is really important for him to scout, and he will actually see these Swarmos coming out. Oh, he moves away at the last second. He doesn't see.
He saw the Infestation Pit, but he doesn't really know is that only for the Hive tag. Is he trying to go into Vipers, or what's going to be the issue here? Now we have additional Stargates being dropped, and this is more and more Crank just committing to the air style, the air Protoss, that is so good on this map. But with Swarm Hosts, it's actually going to be really interesting for him to hold, because this is a huge commitment to Swarm Hosts, and the Colossi numbers are not really high enough so that you can deal with this many Locusts.
I'm really missing the Fleet Beacon too. He's going to want to make some Tempests, and you know, just lacking the Fleet Beacon is also going to affect how his upgrades go. You see him starts Plasma Shields here.
Yeah, also the Templar Archive is something that you would like to have. The Fleet Beacon is now coming in, but as soon as you're heading... I mean, if you're up against Swarm Hosts, you either need to have good numbers in Colossi that they can deal with the Swarm Hosts, or you want to have Storm, one of the two.
Also, remember, he got his Twilight Council so he can get more ground upgrades for his attack, but he only has one Forge, and it's kind of idle, so the upgrades are getting better and better for the Zerg player. Symbol, he's got already +2 for his melee, or for his range, and he has +1 Carapace coming up now.
Symbol has a decent timing here, moving out, and he's getting 13 Spore Crawlers. Wondering if he goes for... No, he's not going to go for a Spore Crawler cancel. This is really just to make sure that Warp Gates and Warp Prisms are not going to be an issue, and drops. And this is going to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Mothership Core goes for the premature Photon Overcharge, so he's, you know, he's going to buy some time over there, but the third base is what you probably will not be able to protect for
and you know, that's how you play with Locusts. You leave the Swarm Hosts outside the range. You could have them a little bit closer than they are, but having them right outside of the range, that is really what you want to have. As far away as possible while still doing damage.
Yeah.
And he's making this so smart, like he's moving in the second wave of Locusts down to the third base, and now moving in once again at the fourth, always moving the Swarm Host. This is brilliant.
Yeah, and now he's going to do it just one more time. Here they come. All those probes. I don't know why you thought that was a good time to transfer them.
Yeah, the Nexus is really damaged. The main base warp in with Zealots for Crank is not going to do a lot against this many Spine Crawlers. He's even adding more. Transfuses too.
This is just a mineral sink right now, and the Force Fields are gone. That Nexus is going to go down.
And this is the problem. He doesn't have the area of effect damage that he needs. He's moving with the Colossi in and now even using the ability on the Void Race against the Locust.
Yeah, he could have tried to chase those Corruptors down, but for some reason didn't feel comfortable. Of course, there are some Hydras out there, so I suppose that might be why he was scared.
The warp in at the bottom left is going to do a lot more. There are no spines just yet. But this base is going to be attacked, and there are so many Corruptors to use Corruption, and there is no... He's on cooldown with the Void Race. He used the ability earlier on, and this is why he cannot use it against the Corruptors.
And time warps go down a little bit wasted there. I mean, they're going to slow these Locusts for sure. There goes the Mothership Core. Oh! Yeah, barely. Just
barely gets it, but is able to take it out. And the Locusts can still pressure this third base.
There are 16 Hydralisks on the way right now, so he really wants to bolster that Hydralisk count while he continues to use the Locusts.
There's nearly no detection. The next round of Locusts should be able to snipe that expansion.
You know, Alicia is... Or not Alicia, sorry. Crank in this moment he's in a lot of trouble because he just simply... He can't build the composition he wants to.
Why? Symbol, what?
That was a mistake. But the next wave should be able to hit that.
I don't think so, because now Crank knows that it's coming. Now Crank will be ready.
Yeah, well...
Why did he not take that out with the first wave? Oh, Crank moves away. Oh, that was a big oversight. But
he's not targeting again.
Yeah, this time he can't kill it because the Locusts or the Swarm Hosts are already too far away. So he can't take it down. The duration just doesn't last. But he could have done it with the first wave.
Yeah, now this is not going to work. But here come the Hydras. He knows that the Protoss has not reached that critical mass yet, so he can still make Hydras. I really like his decision to keep making the Hydralisks at this point in time because he knows that the Protoss army is just not quite big enough to deal with the Hydras and the Locusts together. Later, obviously, he's going to want to switch out of this and make Vipers, for example, but right now it's fine.
I love how he just baited out the upgrade or the overcharge ability for the Void Race once again. Yeah. So now he can just wait and fight another day. That was a very, very smart move. He knows that there's a cooldown right now. He sends the Locusts into the main base this time or towards the natural. And he just keeps Crank on his toes. Crank has to move from the left to the right the entire time. But he's building up a very scary army composition. That's something that we should not forget here.
Yeah. Next wave of Locust is going to be really deadly because he does not have a wall anymore. And he comes with the Hydras this time.
Yeah, moving in with the Hydralisks, but still, this is a very, very strong army that Crank has here. So many Void Rays.
Yeah, and the Void Rays use their charge up this time at the right moment. He gets a few Swarm Hosts here. Hydras going down as well.
Symbol. This is actually funny that he's trying to get the center base to the top where there's a pylon right next to it. The pylon that he didn't see earlier. Yeah. A lot of additional Corruptors are being built now, but the Void Ray numbers are getting a bit crazy.
This is a great little window, of course, for Crank. Takes out that Overseer. I would like to see this next Mothership Core become a Mothership. We'll see if he decides for it. We saw how useful that can be in one of our other matches.
I'm still a bit baffled that he did not take down the Nexus earlier when he had the chance. That would have changed so much because the income for Crank would have been plummeting down. So now Crank has still the economy to build all these Void Rays. That was a bit of a misstep by Symbol. And in the long run, it might not matter, but at this point in time, it does make all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is what allowed him to just turtle up and take this 200-200 army once more. I mean, it's nearly 200-200. He was building it for a really long time, and I still like the position for Symbol, but I like it less than before.
Here we go, the overcharge is ready, and he's fighting, he's using corruptions, he's attacking with so many corruptors, but no, you cannot attack Void Rays when they have the charge-up ability.
Yeah, I think he overestimated his chances here with those Hydras. This is actually probably game.
Yeah, you can never overestimate Void Rays that still have the charge-up. They are insanely strong. They are so strong that it's actually silly looking at such a fight. Yeah. Of course, the numbers were in favor of Symbol. He had so many corruptors there.
You see him in an arc around the Void Rays even, but the Void Rays are just so strong.
There were so many of them, but it does not matter. If there is such a crucial number of Void Rays and you still have the overcharge ability, the charge up, the prismatic alignment, then there is just no way that you're going to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point in time, Symbol is kind of he's basically kicking himself in the foot, but I don't think he can hold this push anymore. I think he's pretty much dead.
This army's so strong, and Crank's patience here, it pays off. Yeah. He's really able to break through here, and Symbol just making a bit of a mistake with his earlier attack that we mentioned towards third base, and also with his composition in the end.
I mean, he turtled well. You know, he made the decision, I'm just going to turtle, get this maxed out army, I'm not going to change things. A bunch of spines are going to move down here, but they're all going to die instantly before they get down the ramp.
Trying to do whatever he can, but this is over. There's no anti-air anymore. Way too many Void Rays. The Colossi do so much damage. He's dancing the units now. This is game. Axiom-Acer is going to win this match here at the GSTL.
Excellently done, and the Spine Claws, once they die, I think we'll see GG.
GG and game over. Axiom-Acer takes the series with a 4-3. They are once again on rank 1 in the rankings. Did Scarlet just basically kill Ryung with that high five?
Yeah.
Was it her?
I believe so. Ryung got left hanging there. He had to give the awkward thumbs up. There, he got it.
That was really, really well played by Crank. Very patient, but I feel that it was, I don't want to say it was a throw by Symbol, but he could have won this. I mean, that was not a game that was unwinnable for him. That was a game where he was so close to taking it, and then 1-2 decisions where he didn't really see that he had an opportunity that cost him the match in the end.
You know, Symbol looking very upset there in the booth, and it was a rough loss for him. Just took one wrong fight, and that's how hard the Storm can be with those Void Rays sometimes in the late game.
Shaking his head here, he knows that this was a game he could have won. But Crank played a very patient game.
I hope that this doesn't get into his head too much going into Code S, of course.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think he can distinguish between the two.
Well, you know, I mean, considering it's a different matchup entirely anyways, I guess probably not going to affect him all too much.
It shouldn't be an issue for him. But he fought well. Just a few decisions that were not the best. I was actually really surprised that he took that fight, because every single time when he approached the Void Ray army before that, he always went in, baited out the upgrade, went back, waited, and then he went in again. Yeah. But in the final fight, I feel like he looked at his numbers and he was like, okay, I know there are a lot of Void Rays, but I have so many Corruptors. I sure can win that, right?
Yeah.
And, well, you just can't.
Exactly. I mean, we saw the Corruptors like go in a C-shaped arc around the Void Rays. That's how many he had, and they just all disappeared. Those Void Rays are good, man. I remember the first VP match I played against Void Rays. I had Blink Stalkers that surrounded in a circle the Void Rays, and the Void Rays. Someone else like, oh, they're really strong.
Yeah, Void Rays are amazing as long as they have the upgrade ready, and that's exactly what happened here.
He wanted to bait it out, it just never happened, and suddenly he was kind of forced to fight. He didn't have a lot of room left.
Yeah, I mean, in the last situation, it was actually Crank moving out, you're right, so the Swarm Host would have been completely exposed. The Swarm Host numbers were also dwindling. He could have just done a bit more. I feel
personally, I think he thought his Hydras were going to do more for him there in that fight, but he just underestimated the Colossi and the Void Rays together as a combo.
I think he actually thought a little bit that he was in a better position than he actually was, denying that fourth base several times, having a fourth up on his own, trying to take another expansion. So he controlled the map for a long period of time, but in the end, it was just Crank building up this one army composition that took him out. And once he lost the fight, it was just there was not a lot that he could do. There's not one unit that he can just simply mass and suddenly he is able to just throw Crank back. So the Protoss player just steamrolled him after this.
Yeah, really, really well done. Just great patience. And that one not target on the Nexus 2 really gave a great opportunity to Crank to rebuild that army. Without it, no way you can rebuild that army fast enough, and Symbol's just going to keep sending Hydra waves at him, and eventually he's going to die. And once he loses that Nexus, he loses his strength for a little bit, so he could even move the Locust even closer and make sure that he has to keep canceling the Nexus. It would have gotten out of hand very, very quickly.
As it is, we have Crank taking the game and also the entire series for Axiom-Acer. So once again, they will be at the top of the rankings, leading their ranks here at the GSTL. And AZUBU definitely not too happy about the score here, but they are still in a position where they can reach the playoffs if they do well in the next few matches. We are, of course, having a short interview and trying to find out what the coach and also Scarlett have to say here.
I'm really happy about
I don't think we have to translate them.
No.
I studied Boong Boong, what he did on Whirlwind every game, and I knew that if I went Tenpool Bane, I knew I didn't have to scout, and I would know where he is by if I saw his Overlord or not, so that was an easy win. And then Ganji, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be another Zerg, but with Icarus, I thought it would be a really good map for fast Muna because it's safe, and you can get a layer really fast to the gas at the natural, so I just did that.
오늘 뿡뿡 선수에게 들리나요? 오늘
It's actually so funny that for once we don't have to wait like for the translation and everything. This is really relaxing. But yeah, as she already said, I mean, we talked about this in game number 1. She knew the position of her opponent because of the Overlord spotting. She didn't see an Overlord with her own Overlord, so she could rule out the top left and the bottom right, and then headed straight across the map, and that won her the game.
Yeah, that's really cool to see her say that. You know, just the studying and the preparation that goes into map 1 with the Boom Boom. That's just as straight up as it gets. She's like, I studied him and he does this, and I don't even have to scout because I know where the Overlord's going to be. That's exactly what we talked about. And
yeah, that's what you have to do in the team league. Study your opponent and also develop a plan B so that you can just move in.
We were talking about strategies to use.
보통 전략적인 것을 얘기하고 한다고 합니다.
전략적으로요. 네, 오늘 승리 정말 축하드리고 앞으로
So we didn't have the audio on that question, but I guess that probably asking him what they were doing earlier when they were together talking.
선수와 좀 이야기를 한번 나눠봐야 되는데.
There we are.
I actually don't think that we are going to have any translations today.
Yeah,
with him being on the bench right
exactly,
now.
Which is a bit sad. But
yeah, so usually what happens here is we have people in the... Oh, we have translation.
Okay, yeah. All right.
I don't think we have a translation, but we are going to bridge the time anyways. Yeah, so what we usually have is someone in the production area who can translate for the interviews, but in this particular situation, the guys are on holidays. You just saw one of the translators down at the players' bench.
Yeah, also he's coming here on his free time. He's also not, you know, today's not one of his working days, so he's actually volunteering right now.
일단 제가 경기를 이긴 것보다요.
How is he back already in the production area? That is amazing.
I don't know how he did that.
They were asking Crank how he did today, how he felt today. How did he get up that fast?
I have no idea, man.
They must have.
They may have a wireless mic on him or something. Actually,
they invented teleporting.
That's. I'm so in shock by that. I'm like, I don't even care what Crank has to say anymore. I'm like, what?
Okay, so apparently he wasn't teleported towards the backstage area.
Yeah, he's like, I'm hearing him panting now in the production room. I'm like,
exactly, he's panting and he missed the first question that we got there. So
I gotta take him out to lunch after this, man. He's doing so much for us. He's running laps.
So they're asking him how he thinks he's going to do in the future. Crank first, that is. So the first thing that he mentions is that they will have MMA back, that he's going to come back to Korea and participating with them in the GSTL. And as long as they perform on the same level as they do right now and keep that trend going, they will participate in the finals. And that's where they're aiming for.
Yeah.
How's your communication with Scarlett? And since my girlfriend's a foreigner, Crank says, I can do some translating and communicate.
대회를 끝나고도 바로 한국으로 곧장 돌아오고 싶다고 할 정도로 한국 생활에 되게 적응 잘하고 되게 흥미로워하고 있고요. 의사소통 같은
Scarlett is really happy about life in Korea. She really likes it here. And after the WCS, basically what we talked about earlier, she wants to come back to Korea. She really enjoys it here.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean,
after the last team match, we got some Mexican food. She really missed that apparently, and she talked a lot about how she loves being here. And also the weather change is something that she really enjoys. We have perfect weather these days.
Yeah, it's really excellent. Even though it's cloudy today, I love it. They're asking her to speak Korean.
네.
나 좋아요. 밥 맛있는 거
That's
먹었어요?
so mean, actually. Putting her in a spot here.
네.
야, 잘하시네.
She said nay twice, so.
예, 대답 진짜 너무나 잘해요.
그렇죠. 발음도 굉장히 명확하시고.
한국인 같은. 야, 이렇게.
Yeah, it's definitely putting her on the spot there.
숙소 생활을 하다 보니까.
You can't do that. No. I mean, she is really a little bit shy, and putting her on the spot there, being on camera, and then like, okay, talk a little bit Korean. That's also always such an awkward question. You are always confronted with that. It's like, yeah, what do you want me to say? It's the same when people ask me to talk something in German. I'm like what?
Yeah.
It's like...
Exactly. It can definitely be a little bit weird. You know, making like a fake conversation always feels a little bit unnatural. Even if you say something, a word.
So basically all that she says is like "meh" 2 times, and they're like, "Oh, amazing."
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's our results. 4-3. Crank getting the final victory there.
Really cool matches today. Really interesting games that we saw. And also a very, very close series with Axiom-Acer just barely able to get the victory here against Team AZUBU.
Scarlett, the most consistent winner on the team, actually taking 2 wins, more than any other player was able to do.
And she was in a position where she could have won against Supernova. She was talking about how she wasn't too happy with her performance there and a little bit annoyed that she didn't take the match. But still, 2 wins for her, and that's exactly what Axiom-Acer needed. As you can see, they are now once again in the pole position.
Absolutely. LGIM, with their victory yesterday, now up to +2 and take that 3rd place spot. Epic's Open, still in the top 4, so we still have some closeness between AZUBU and StarTale as AZUBU falls down to number 6 Prime, and NS Hostel are pretty much the punching bags of the league down there at the bottom, of course.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of chances anymore to go into the playoffs, and I think they're well aware of this. This is just trying to get the season over with, trying to prepare already for the next season, building up new players. That is what the teams should, in my opinion, now focus on.
Yeah, absolutely so. And of course, here are our matches for next week. Epic's Open plays against StarTale, and NS Hosa, the last place in the league, plays against MVP, the strongest team we've had this season.
Yeah, MVP is looking really strong. Keep in mind that MVP has, Axiom-Acer now has 1 additional match.
Yeah, they played one more.
They played 1 more match, so MVP has a chance to get into the pole position once again. And yeah, this is it for next week, so things are shaping up to be very interesting here at the GSTL. Make sure that you tune in on Friday and also on Saturday for the GSTL. And that's it for the day. A very interesting series that we had. Axiom-Acer being victorious against Team AZUBU. And we're going to see you guys next time. Hope that you have a great weekend. See you next week with the GSTL. Of course, also with code S and code A. Tune in for both. You can check out the dates at GOMTV.net. And we'll...
Drive, gain, relief, triumph. 4 years, 4 kids later down the line. My progression is my profession. I'm doing shows with a 9. My mama's trying to kick him